This group of wolves are experienced hunters. They saw different things in life, including how mothers fiercely fight for their cubs. But this is the first time they see a berserker moose and did not really expect such a development. Wolves chase their prey for quite a long time. Usually moose can keep a great pace and many miles break away from the chase. In addition, the moose is an incredibly huge animal whose physical strength is often underestimated. But this giant can reach a mass of only a little less than a ton, and the force of its impact is capable of breaking a wolf's neck. So here the female and the cub took advantage of all their advantages. She really ran from her pursuers for a long time, but the wolves drove her into a small lake. It would seem that a longer-legged animal has an advantage here, because the wolf needs to jump out of the water to grab at the throat. But that is just the predator's attack, the female only in the second place. Their main target is the calf. They distract the moose to get close to the baby. The wolves know that the mother will desperately protect him and forget even about her own safety. But the predators were wrong. It looks like the moose caught the courage of the battle and lost control of its movements. She tried to fight off the club, but got carried away, went on an attack of the wolves, and delivered a powerful hoof kick right at her calf. He is in shock and almost choked. It seems that this only angered the moose even more, who went on to fight with the wolves. The predators did not expect such a development. They rushed at both of them. The wolf's fangs bit into the cub, and the moose went for a battering ram. Doesn't she understand what she's doing? In any case, the moose missed. Just look at how the wolves dodged her punch. The predator that held her club into its teeth didn't even release its grip at all. All this time, he held the calf in his teeth, strangled it, and drowned it. And the enraged female, it seems, did not even notice her mistake and got out onto the shore, where it was more convenient for her to continue the fight. Did she just abandon her offspring? Just the mother of the year. While she got out of this mess alive, the wolves really underestimated her berserker temper. Everyone knows the stubborn nature of donkeys, but few people know that this is not their main feature. These herbivorous animals stand out much more for their ability to fight. Didn't expect it? So these hyenas also did not think that a funny animal with long ears, a vulnerable neck, and a funny elongated muzzle could literally trample a dangerous predator that could even fight a panther one-on-one. The stubbornness of the donkey is also manifested in its bloodlust. This animal is usually calm and peaceful, but if it feels threatened, it will not stop by simply scaring off the enemy, and even more so, will not try to escape. Are you running into a donkey? Then get ready for a long duel, as a result of which the ungulate will also mock the loser to teach him an unforgettable lesson. As you can see, the main weapon of the ungulate is its jaws. It can kick, but in terms of limb strength, it is inferior to larger ungulates like horses. But teeth are another matter. In nature, donkeys are residents of arid regions and places with a rather harsh climate. The vegetation there is sparse and, more importantly, very tough. The donkey has no fangs and the teeth are flat, not sharp. But this is not a flaw, but a real weapon. The fact is that in order to feed on the toughest, hardest, and prickliest vegetation, donkeys have developed a specific chewing technique. They do not bite off, but grind food like a steel construction vise. Kind of scary, isn't it? Now this hyena will be afraid to approach such an eared monster. The donkey shakes the opponent from side to side. He understands perfectly well. The nape of the neck is the place where the grip makes the enemy most defenseless. That is why the animal is aiming exactly there and trying to grab the enemy by the scruff of the neck. Did you succeed? That's it, it's a clear victory. There was no chance to escape from such a powerful grip of its enemy. Dodge and counterattack too. Maybe the donkey's arsenal of fighting techniques is not very wide, but he mastered it perfectly. But the main thing is the typical donkey's stubbornness in the context of combat use. The donkey knows that the main thing in learning is method and repetition. Even when the enemy is desperately clinging to its teeth like a ragged rag, the donkey does not calm down at all and continues to pull and bite and shake the enemy from side to side. The neck, which seemed to be such a vulnerable place, turns out to be so powerful that the donkey carries a heavy opponent without any problems whatsoever. Sharp twitches, blows, and the force of teeth can cause fatal damage to the cervical vertebrae, destroy blood vessels, and irreversibly tear muscles. And this is all despite the fact that the skin itself is likely to remain intact. But even if the predator is lucky and the donkey grabs him only by the skin, the pain from the grip as the ungulate is terrible. These carnivorous beasts will no longer associate with such a dangerous enemy. Swimming into the territory of hippos is the biggest mistake a crocodile can make. There is no longer any question of attacking these herbivores. The reptile, even in full force, can only cope with a young individual, and only when the hippopotamus is alone. An adult, powerful beast is literally too much for a crocodile. Moreover, hippos hate crocodiles and respond to reptilian aggression with tenfold rabies. The behemoth will not simply try to avoid confrontation, will not try to repel the attack and escape. Perhaps the crocodile, with its manner of suddenly attacking from under muddy water, considers itself a living inevitability. Well, if a stupid overgrown lizard crosses the path of a hippopotamus, the same thing awaits her as Thanos. The hippopotamus will not stop until it simply turns the opponent into a chop. There was a lot of evidence that the huge mammals attacked the reptiles first. I admit it, you need to be a really brave beast to be the first to pounce on an armored crocodile with a fanged mouth as long as an adult's leg. But this behemoth doesn't care about the arsenal of its enemies. These giants reach about 3 tons in weight. Their rounded bodies have a shape from which the reptile bite will simply slide off. At the same time, hippos can move frighteningly fast, both on land and even more so in water, where they are also very maneuverable. Their skin is smooth, but thick enough to protect even better than the powerful scales of a crocodile. In general, the behemoth wins on all counts, but especially on the level of aggression. It is curious that hippopotamus can tolerate the presence of a crocodile while the reptile behaves calmly. But if she gets too close, she is perceived as a target. The most epic thing is when a crocodile finds itself surrounded by a huge herd of hippos. Of course, this is a rarity, and the shots you see are unique. Pay attention to the brutality with which angry hippos deal with adult and powerful crocodiles. A reptile that could catch a bull is absolutely helpless against such a crowd of aggressive enemies. She can't do anything against them. Crushing blows with her jaws fall on the reptile and take off her armor, like a stone crumpling paper. But the most amazing thing is that herbivorous aggressors pass the crocodile to each other like a toy. It's like a reptile is a simulator where hippos practice their fighting skills. But this looks pretty epic, doesn't it? The hippos are literally thrown around by the reptile, whose weight is much greater than that of an adult. Well, if other crocodiles are watching this scene, then they will never approach the reservoir again, even within shooting distance. Hardly anyone would call a lynx a helpless animal. This is a cool predator that preys on fairly large horned ones. But still, a lynx is a cat weighing up to 65 pounds, up to 30 kilograms. The cougar in the background is a giant. Some individuals can be 3 times larger and several times stronger. Their character is also tough. Aggressive cougars even fight on par with jaguars, the third panthers on the planet after lions and tigers. And cougars are happy to hunt small bears, as they do not like the competition. This cougar also thought that there was a competitor in front of her, only a weak one. The lynx is a rival for her, which is easy to get rid of. But this individual turned out to be much more difficult. She kept her composure and self-control and managed to give the cougar a worthy rebuff. These are very rare shots of a skirmish between such serious predators. Under normal conditions, lynx avoid cougars, but it was not possible to get away from the meeting here. The cougar acts very aggressively, growls, tries to intimidate the opponent. Just pay attention to the lynx look. Even a primed Marine would envy that composure. How would you behave if you were face to face with an angry mountain lion? The lynx didn't flinch. Her every movement is clear so that she responds optimally to the threat, saves its strength, and delivers strong, accurate strikes at the only right moment when they can reach the target. The cougar has to retreat. Unexpectedly for her, the lynx turned out to be a tough nut to crack. These tigers could handle a young elephant. Therefore, predatory cats thought that a duck was just like a snack, like a pack of chips. But they didn't know how cold-blooded and cunning this little feathered buddy was. During each attack, the duck simply dived under the surface of the murky water. And that's it. For the cats, it was gone. Probably if they had dived too, they could have even caught her blindly. However, the disappearance of the duck shocked the cats so much that they froze in place. And when the duck resurfaced, it was like a teleportation for the striped predators. As a result, the cats could not even catch one feathered bird, which did not even try to take off from them. When you see this adorable animal with an elongated ferret face, round ears, and big cute paws running through snowdrifts, the cuteness meter just overloads. But if some large predator tries to attack this little adorable buddy, he will immediately realize that he has contacted the wrong opponent. This wolf regretted that he got caught by such a little buddy. It seems that the gray predator is not laughing. Do you agree? And when you see how this creature kills a deer by himself, and you realize that nature has surprises for you. This is the Wolverine. And the coolest superhero scumbag has its name for a reason. An animal the size of a spaniel that scares experienced wolves by its mere presence. Why is this? It's just that if a wolf or even a cougar has the audacity to attack our little buddy, it can end tragically for the larger predator and become nothing more than a warm-up for the Wolverine itself. And how will an experienced predator behave if it meets the Wolverine? Will it pick up some keys to victory, look for tactics, how to defeat the enemy? No. Here is an experienced wolf, and he made the most reasonable decision. He pretends not to see the Wolverine and tries not to provoke her. Look just how the wolf looks away from the competitor who is walking around and does not show any interest in it at all. Wow. Wolves are pretty smart animals. The Wolverine weighs a maximum of 55 pounds, 25 kilograms. That is 3 times less than a wolf. But just look at how this battle machine can fight 2 such opponents at once. These wolves carelessly attack Wolverines, but it immediately goes on the counterattack and starts chasing opponents like puppies. The ferocity of the Wolverine simply shocks both wolves, who were waiting for the victim to start running away. Apparently, they haven't faced such an opponent yet. Wolves are considered one of the most successful and effective predators on the planet. But the Wolverine just doesn't care about their reputation, teamwork, intelligence, agility, and other advantages. If you make her angry, she just goes into battle and destroys everything in her path. The secret of the Wolverine's success is a combination of incredible rage, bravery, and extraordinary physical abilities. The Wolverine fights with both jaws and paws. Her claws, although they do not retract like cats, are very sharp and strong. This allows her to grab the victim almost tighter than a bulldog. And it's not so much the bite force as the incredible stubbornness of the animal. If the Wolverine clenches its jaws, then only a burst from a machine gun can make it let go of the victim. And that is the option that first Wolverines will deal with the shooter, and then return to the prey. You know about the Wolverine's reputation, we know about the Wolverine's reputation, even many bears know about it. But the behavior of this baby, on the contrary, is a big surprise for any predator. This is an ordinary American badger. He is much less famous than the Wolverine or honey badger, although they are all relatives. Do you understand what this means? That if due to inexperience a bear gets into a fight with a badger, it will receive the same tough rebuff as in the case of a honey badger. For its size, the badger has great strength, but still inferior to larger predators. How then does he keep them at bay? It's just that the badger's skin is incredibly strong, and the animal itself has great vitality, a high pain threshold, thick fur, and agility. Even experienced hunters prefer not to mess with the badger. There are legends that the skin of this beast is even more durable than that of a boar. Why then do we hear so little about the rage of badgers? The fact is that they don't like unnecessary problems. The honey badger and Wolverine walk around their possessions and constantly run into a fight. And the badger, on the contrary, likes a quiet life normally. He prefers berries, nuts, roots, vegetables, and if it hunts, it usually hunts insects, reptiles, and small little birds. The badger loves rodents especially, so he is treated well in culture because the badger destroys pests. By the way, he's not irritable, not particularly aggressive, and doesn't try to punch the bear as soon as he notices it. He's also got a really cute face, don't you agree? American badgers have long hair, which in combination with a low-sitting body and short paws makes them look like kind of decorative dogs. European ones look especially cute due to the elongated muzzle with characteristic cute stripes. Therefore, it seems that in front of you is an ordinary quiet boy who hides from the threat and counts only on the protection of its native burrow. That's why it's such a surprise for this bear when it turns out that the badger is even more insane and berserk than his distant relatives. After all, if this guy is provoked, he will be offended and show that it is better not to run into modest people. Most predators avoid fights with an equal opponent for one simple reason: good health is needed for hunting. If the wolf overcomes the enemy, but remains with a wounded paw, it will be much more difficult for him to catch up with the prey. This can end fatally. The badger doesn't care about this at all. He goes to the end, which simply terrifies his competitors. The badger can even attack a cougar if it tries to mess with him. But the cougar is an incredibly aggressive and cruel beast. But she retreats like a frightened little kitten when the badger threatens to gnaw the cat's tendons on its paws. With his elongated but very powerful jaws, he can do this. He attacks 10 times the larger beast stubbornly and brutally over and over again. At the same time, the badger knows the pain points of the enemy and tries to hit each one. This fox thought that the badger was a helpless fatty, but realized too late that he had messed with the wrong one. The badger bites right at the base of the tail, in a very painful place. He shakes it from side to side, causing maximum damage. And thanks to the grip of powerful paws, the fox has no chance to get out until the badger lets him go. And the blows of the enemy, it seems, he simply ignores. And even if the predator retreats, the badger will chase him himself, so that the enemy will forever remember this lesson. And what unexpected victory of the victim over the predator struck you more than others? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.